Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this June 2022 energy update. My name is Ona Christie, and I've got some big downloads around this month that I can't wait to share with you. So in this June 2022 energy update video, I'm going to be sharing, first of all, I'm going to tell you a story, and then we'll talk a little bit about spiritual law and what to be aware of in the coming month. I'll also be sharing a little about the astrology of June 2022 and how the planets may be affecting our energies at this time. And we'll end the video with the number one thing that I believe all awakened people will need to keep in mind this month, as well as a quick spirit animal reading to support us through the energies of June 2022. And I've also got a little painting I'd like to share with you. But let's start with a story. So I call this the tale of two gurus. And I don't follow a lot of people on YouTube, but there are a couple of guru types that have caught my attention over the past few months. And they're both incredibly well versed in spirituality, and I've recognized a lot of wisdom in both. So I just want to share this, what kind of came forward for me here. So the first guru is extremely well versed in many, many different traditions. And he caught my attention because it seems like a lot of what he was saying was really spot on. Like, you can tell he understands a lot of stuff. He understands deeply the archetypes and all that stuff. The other one is more fully aligned with a single spiritual path. And I get the impression that he understands stuff really deeply too, but he comes across as a little bit more childlike. Not in a bad way, but just that really beautiful simplicity of expression and something about his aura. So one day recently, these two videos came up, one after another, from these two gurus. And the first guru starts talking about this apocalypse, like it's a done deal. And I was kind of like, wow. And then a couple of weeks later, I saw another one of his videos where he actually flat out stated that it's a done deal, like the earth is going to be annihilated and humanity is going to be wiped out, all this stuff. Okay, so the other guru that popped up on the same day as that first video was this childlike guru. And he had this whole band of musicians going, and they were playing their hearts out, and they were joyful, and they were happy, and the music just made you feel alive. And I remember I put it on when I was making dinner, and I was just really literally just dancing around the kitchen. So the reason I'm telling you the story is to point out something that's really fundamental, that's already going on, but I think it's going to become more and more important and more visible in the coming weeks and months. And I think it's also going to really start amplifying in June 2022. And that's about the power of story itself. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit more about specific energies of June in just a little bit, and why story and storytelling is such an important element of what's actually happening spiritually at this time. But first, I want to explain exactly why story is so powerful, especially now. And to do that, let's take a real quick look at the sacred laws. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about sacred law throughout here. The first law is the law of divine oneness. It's also called the law of mentalism. And this is the concept that everything is consciousness. And I think of universal consciousness as this life force energy. It's all around you. It's all around us, especially when we're out in nature. And this relates directly to manifesting, to what we see unfolding in the world, because it all starts with the mind, right? With universal consciousness, but also in the human mind, because we are aspects of that universal consciousness. Sorry, I just inhaled a gnat or something. Our thoughts are powerful. Okay, so our thoughts are really powerful because our thoughts are the vehicle of creation, right? It's the mind into matter. And as conscious beings, we are vehicles for that universal consciousness, that life force energy to express itself. But according to the law of polarity, everything occurs on a spectrum. So everything can be expressed in either a positive way or a negative way. So when you're talking about life force, which we see in all its abundance right here in the woods, the other side of it, the opposite of that, is the death force, right? And so life and death are not just intimately related, they are basically one. They're the two poles of the same thing, and you can't have one without the other. So when you're talking about the life, we've got to respect that death is just part of it. But we also have to understand the power of mental creation when it comes to working with this universal energy that we're all a part of, okay? It starts with thoughts, but thoughts become creative things through the act of story, right? It's the story as it unfolds that carries the energy of creation with it. And so when you have a thought of a particular thing, like a full meal that's on the table and that's ready to eat, that thought has to unfold as a story in order to actually get you there. Your mind says, okay, now I have to get the eggs out of the fridge and I've got to go to the store and I got to get some flour, whatever it is, right? So there's so many ways that you could unfold that story to get dinner right on the table, but it's played out first through the story in your mind. The story enables the action and the action brings it to fruition. So when we start manifesting a thought, whether it's downloads of what we want to do next or something that somebody wants you to believe, when we manifest those thoughts, we are unfolding a story, okay? And by manifesting a thought, I just mean allowing it into our consciousness. And so the narratives that are out there right now are the stories that are the vehicles for what's being created at this moment. And there's a lot of narratives out there. But of all the stories that are being told, the narratives out there, it boils down to two big narratives, right? They all fall into these two big buckets. One is a narrative of the life force, and the other is the narrative of the death force. And so there's one narrative out there, it's about annihilation and apocalypse, right? It's the apocalypse narrative. And then there's another narrative out there, and that is about resurrection, and that's the Eden narrative. And that one is the one that's restoring the pristine earth, okay? And so it's really, really important right now, especially, to be aware of these two narratives, because when you break it down to that, it's a lot more simple, right? When you can choose which narrative you want to vibrate with. So as I've said many times before, it's all about vibration. The third universal law is the law of vibration. Everything vibrates. So you're going to be vibrating. You cannot not vibrate. Even if you've passed over, you're still vibrating, right? And right now, because these polarities are so strong on the earth right now, right, between the life force and the death agenda, you're going to be vibrating towards one or the other polarity, right? And it can shift back and forth. But it's going to be almost impossible to sit in the middle right now. And so this is really important. We can consciously choose which narrative we're vibrating with, right? We do that through our thoughts, and that's free will. But if you don't choose, something's going to choose for you, right? Because these polarities, these vibrations are so strong, we're going to naturally harmonize with one or the other. And so anything that outright seeks to choose for you, that's going to be aligned with the negative polarity, right? With the death agenda, because that's the trickster energy that wants to divert the life force or pull you off balance. And whereas we really have to actively choose the positive polarity, to exercise our free will to choose the light. So that's the big work right now. And it really boils down to vibration in your thoughts. So why is the importance of story coming forward so strongly right now, especially because we're in Gemini season? The sun just entered Gemini on May 20th of this year, and Gemini, of course, rules communication. So this is the season of the year where things having to do with communication and how we think and learn and process are most easily influenced, okay? And human beings, of course, are really wired to learn through story. So in addition to the sun being in Gemini, we've also got Mercury going into Gemini on June 16th and Venus going into Gemini on June 22nd. And we've got Mercury going direct on the 3rd, just before Saturn and Neptune both go retrograde, okay? So Saturn retrograde, what happens on June 4th, could bring up a lot of karmic stuff, right? It's also the ruler of boundaries. So watch out for anything or any kind of story or narrative that's trying to sweet talk you or bully you out of holding your boundaries strong, okay? And that also goes for the next few months until Saturn turns direct on October 22nd. Neptune is also due to go retrograde on June 28th. And Neptune rules visual communication intuition and fantasies, and it's going retrograde in the dreamy spiritual sign of Pisces. So be on the lookout for how the different narratives, and especially the negative narratives, are told through the use of images and video. Okay, and by the way, I have not been doing a lot of art recently, but I do a sacred studio session in my Wolfpack group on Patreon every month. And so this was the one that came up that was done during that session. And the reason I'm showing it to you right now is because usually I will draw out of the images that I'm seeing, the download. And this one, I was really directed to pull up an image and actually just paint from observation. So there was a beautiful photograph of lotuses, which I rendered into watercolor. And so the message that came to me for this month was observe, like really acutely observe what's going on around you, right? And yes, your inner images, but also really start looking and observing what's happening, right? And especially when you're looking at the narratives, the social media stories, the news stories, all that. And it doesn't mean you have to analyze it, but just observe what's happening and you may start seeing patterns, right? And also the lotus, of course, the symbolism of lotus is rising up out of the mud into the light. So beautiful, beautiful flower message there. But that's something we have to choose, right? Okay, so let's go back briefly to the astrology here. Last thing I wanted to mention in terms of astrology for the energies of June 2022 is that we have this super powerful date out there, June 6th, 2022, and that's the 666. Okay, so don't let it upset you, right? Remember the law of polarity. Everything exists along a spectrum and everything has a positive and a negative polarity, right? So the reason this number has been co-opted by the dark side is that it is actually a super powerful life force number. Okay, 6 is the number of family and harmony, and that's the ancestral line being upheld, right? It's the number of sustainability and the continuation of life, right? So of course that number has been targeted because what's the opposite of family and harmony is discord and extinction, right? But it's become, oh, how cute. There's two little chipmunks chasing each other if you hear something in the background. Right, so it's become a real trend to look at that number 666 and say that it's the number of the beast and all that stuff and to abandon it as evil, but that's really completely missing the point. I don't know about you, but I believe light workers are here to reclaim life and to resurrect it, right? To assist in the reconstruction. And so if we look at that number and we say, hey, let's take that back, let's fully embrace the 666 and turn it around and bring it back in service to the light. That's powerful magic, right? So consider taking some time on that day and really focusing on what's important to you and on that image of Eden, okay? And then one last thing about 666, I did a video, I think it was last August, about Archangel Ariel, and after I'd posted that video, somebody asked me about, there's 666 in there, and I looked in the image, there was like, I thought it was just like swirls, but it turned out to be the number 666. But associated with Archangel Ariel, who's this beautiful angel of the protector of the wild, right? So just check that out if it calls to you. All right, so let's go back to these two gurus because I think it points to something really important. So it's super important right now to keep in mind that each one of us is sovereign and that we are all powerful creators, right? And through the power of our mind especially. And your choice matters as much as any gurus out there, right? You know, I'm looking at that first guru in the story and I'm like, he has chosen the annihilation path, as wise as he appears to be. You know, maybe that's where his soul is calling him. And even though he's done it in a very, very high vibe way, and I'm not going to make any judgment here because, you know, there's something about his soul path maybe working with souls who are ready to leave, right? But I think it's really possible, like given where humanity is right now, right? And the choices that have been made up until now, there's this whole cause and effect thing, right? So you know, there may be a lot of souls, right, leaving the planet in the next few years. Okay, I'm going to invite miracles around that and invite that, you know, maybe I'm wrong. That would be cool. But if it is, then it's something that's part of this whole process, right? And if that's the case, maybe he's here to help to assist some of the higher vibrational souls who have chosen to leave the planet at this time. No judgment. But that's not the path I'm choosing. Okay? And I'm not choosing to focus on any kind of story of annihilation. To me, that's like, why, right? So it really is up to each individual, because I'm feeling that in my heart of hearts, I believe that humanity will move through this and that we will have this resurrection and to move towards Eden, okay? I know this in my heart of hearts. And we know that life is stronger than death, or there would be no life. I mean, this entire forest I'm sitting in is a testament to the power of life. If you look at the cycles of the earth, there have been periods where we have had mass extinctions and so forth and all this stuff. Life always springs back bigger and more powerful and more complex and more diverse than ever before. And everything that I'm being shown is that humanity is here as part of this consciousness of the planet. We play such an important role. And you know, that we can get through this. I really believe this, and I have to believe this full-heartedly, because that's the choice I'm making, to believe this. It's through our beliefs, through the stories we choose to tell, that things actually come into fruition. Okay? But nothing is set in stone just yet, and that's where we're at this juncture that the conscious choice has to be made. Okay? The choice is made first at the thought level, and I think that was done back in 2012. But then the choice has to be continued into the action level, right? The emotional level and the level of action. So we're not out of the woods yet, right? It's super, super critical right now that people actively choose at every moment. Be aware of what your choice is, what narrative you're choosing to believe, what that narrative that you're looking at or seeing on the video or you know, coming out of people's lips, where that narrative is actually coming from, you know, which polarity is it aligned with. Be aware of these things and be aware of the stories you choose to tell, right? Whether we're going to be holding that apocalypse image in our minds or holding the Eden image in our minds. It's going to go that way, right? And it's not an all or nothing thing, because you can have both happening at once. I'm seeing this right now. Collectively, we can be creating heaven and hell at the same time on the same planet. And I think, you know, I think we're seeing that right now. So it's a matter of which one, at the end of the game, which one has accrued the most points, which story has been told more powerfully. And so there's all sorts of possible scenarios that can happen at this point, right? It all depends on free will choice. So right now, it's all hands on deck, right? We're here for a reason right now, we light workers, because as you awaken, you become more powerful in your ability to manifest, right? Your ability to envision and to bring forth what you're visioning. That is part of the awakening process. It gives you more clout, right, in terms of you know, being a creator. And that's why it's so, so important as light workers that we really be aware of what we're thinking and what we're really choosing to believe, not just in our, you know, conscious mind, but subconsciously, right? So there may be a lot of negativity coming our way from all sides in June. I'm just, you know, not going to sugarcoat this, but and some of it may be coming from people who are vibing very, very high, right? You can have that high vibration and still kind of be looking at that negative polarity. So it's a little tricky. So it's super, super important to be really clear on what your beliefs are, where you choose, where you want to be vibrating, and to stay true to your own beliefs, right? Even if it's somebody that you think is a spiritual master, right? And it's going to be really, really, really important for humans, for individual humans, to be really aware of the choice they're making and to defend that choice, okay? So if you're choosing the life agenda, you may be asked to say, hey, no, that's not what I'm choosing. Even if it goes against the authorities, any kind of authority, be it government or family or spiritual, your higher authority is the only thing that matters, right? And so this is our job right now, is to really observe what's going on and really listen for that still small voice, you know, and ask for guidance, right? Stay in the heart, ask for guidance, and really believe that life is stronger than death and we can pull through this. All right. So I'm just going to pull a spirit animal card. This is my spirit animal awareness deck, and it's got 44 cards. 2 of them are actually blank, so that you can play with animals that might not be in the deck. Some people choose to draw those in, and some people just choose, I use them as wild cards. So I'm going to shuffle this, and this is a brand new one. I just cracked this one open because my other one was getting a little ragged. So let's see what animal wants to come forward to support us in these June 2022 energies. Oh, beautiful. It's dog. The energy of dog. Dog is this loyal man's best friend, right? Dog is this piece of nature that has come and out of this incredible feeling of love, right, is here to support humanity. Loyalty, right, and heart. Dog is a huge heart animal, right? And if you have a dog, you know what I mean, that, you know, it's unconditional love. A dog, you know, I've seen dogs that were really, really abused and that show them a little bit of love and they respond amazingly. And so there's a lot of, you know, trauma that's happening on the planet right now, and that has happened. And keep in mind that this whole thing that we're going through, this whole collective craziness is a healing thing, right? It's bringing up trauma to be healed, right? And so just look at, you know, especially if you have a dog, or if you, next time you are around dogs, just look at their eyes and how they're so, you know, I have a friend who is the daughter of my neighbor. She came to visit, and she has a dog, and I was just watching them interact, and the way the dog was just gazing at her in just pure devotion. Okay, we can really take a cue from that and really devote ourselves, just like a dog to his master, to our higher self, to the higher light, right? So that kind of devotion, a dog will follow his master anywhere, and he will stand up for, right? A dog is a huge protector. So at this time, we may be really asked to be a protector of the light, right? Fully devoted, willing to go where it takes, and protecting the light at every turn. That, to me, is the message here. And I just want to leave you with that, a phrase from that beautiful psalm. I forget which one, but it's, I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, and I fear not. I have no fear, because the Lord is with me. So have a wonderful June, and I think this can be a really powerful month. Just stay in your heart, hold tight, and remember, you were born to be free.